Hamad bin Jassim Al Thani is here. He was Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Qatar until 2013. He also managed the Qatar Investment Authority, the sovereign wealth fund, with assets estimated at between $170 and $200 billion. He left his position in government last year when the Emir of Qatar abdicated in favor of his son Tamim. Hamad bin Jassim is seen as a key architect of Qatar's drive for regional influence. Part of this comes from its ownership of the Al Jazeera media network, and part of it comes from direct financial assistance to rebels in Syria, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, Tunisia, and Islamists in Libya. In March this year, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain withdrew their ambassadors in protest against Qatar's foreign policy. There have been ongoing conversations with foreign ministers of those countries about the future relationship between the countries. I am pleased to have Hamad bin Jassim Al Thani back at this table to talk about how he sees politics in the Gulf as well as what's happening in Qatar. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you a chance to correct any part of that introduction if you'd like.
No, I don't correct.
Let me begin really with the fact that you were admired and powerful figure in Qatar. In fact, the Emir once said, I don't run Qatar, the Prime Minister runs Qatar. All of that is sort of which has been said. Then the Emir abdicates. It was talked about for at least a year, at least among the people that I know. What happened?
Well, it's very simple. It's what says by the Emir father is exactly what happened. 3-4 years before the change happened, he was thinking seriously to give more power to his son when he was the Crown Prince, Sheikh Tamim, to take over as soon as possible. His Highness Sheikh Hamad, he believed that he have to transfer the power when the Crown Prince is ready. And at that time, the Prince, he was capable and he did a good job during last 3-4 years. When his father gave him a lot of responsibility, he approved that he is up to the job and he can do it right. And this is why the change happened, and it's been planned. It's not been done just like that.
With respect, I mean, there's all kinds of speculation, as you know.
This is always
the nature of
conspiracy.
The region.
Conspiracy is the nature of the region. And also, don't forget that we are not used to do it in that way, in a civilized way. It's been done usually either by death or by changing power by force.
Yes.
That's what the nature of the region. What happens in Qatar, it's the power being moved to the son, while the father, he's strong, he's healthy, but he believes his son is capable, and we believe so. So he take the position, and we could see after almost a year that he's doing a good job.
Okay, I want to come back to that in terms of what changes there may or may not be. He's in good health. It wasn't for health reasons.
No, definitely not.
It was not because of any conflict between you or others with the Sheikh.
That's part of the, the talks, we call it the Mejlis talk in the region, which it's not true. Yes, we have some differences, to be very frank, between not me and Sheikh, but between me and others, and the others also, they have differences with me. But that was healthy. The Emir father, he would like to listen to everybody and to see different opinion. We've been allowed in Qatar to say our opinion freely to the Emir before any decision. So when there is two different opinions, people say, there is a clash, because they are not used in the region for different opinion. They are used for one opinion come from the top, and it happened, which it is not healthy, I believe.
Power, you had a lot of it. It must be hard to give up power.
Let me tell you one thing, and I am always frank, and this is sometimes bring me some difficulties before.
Well, you promised this interview about a year ago. So.
Yes. I promised you 1 year ago this...
The first interview you did would be here.
Exactly, and this is what I fulfill my promise, but I was thinking to take a 1 year of a rest.
Yes.
If you want to call it as a rest from what happened. Power is... You become happy about power when you start having the power and when you start playing in the power. But after a while, if you are reasonable, if you are wise enough, you have to know to give power or to step down from power or somebody will let you step down from power before the time. We cannot catch the beak. Nobody can catch the beak. But it's better not to catch the downturn.
Yes.
And I believe nobody can give all his life in same spirit, in same capacity. And for that, I feel now more happy by doing this.
Many people talk about, how many billions you have. Where does the money come from?
Let me tell you one thing. People talk, sometimes they say that somebody have, I don't know how many billion, and actually the bank owe him and he doesn't have money. And somebody they told he have little money and he have more money. Yes, I'm not poor, I'm rich. But not as the people, the tycoons which the people talk. Yes, I'm rich enough to live a very good life, myself and my family. You have to go back from my family and my father, how he get his wealth. My father, he was a merchant. My father, he was a landlord. He do a lot of business at his time. And I did a lot of business before I joined and after I joined the government, because at certain time it was legitimate. 10 years ago, I stopped any direct business in Qatar or companies. And beside all the rumors which it says, that was what happened. And now I feel I can do better in my business because I can think enough. I can do things without thinking back that they will say he's working with the government. But the wealth which I have, like any Qataris have, it is might be some of it legitimate in your standard. Yes. Some of it you will say there is a question, but in our term in Qatar it was legitimate. It is legitimate. It's been done through a legitimate business.
Why are your neighbors in Qatar so upset with you, the Saudis?
Upset with me or
no,
with
the
Qatar?
Government, with the government,
Okay.
And with policies that came while you were prime minister.
Yeah. We have differences.
What's the conflict between the Saudis and the Emirates and the Bahrain? And I mean, they worry that the policies of Qatar, the country, are large. They even suggest Qatar's fighting above its weight, so to speak.
Let me tell you in a very frank way. To think if your weight is 100 kilo or 200 kilo or 50 kilo, you have the right to think and to act according to what you think.
Exactly.
So the weight of the countries...
You'd rather define yourself than have someone else define you.
Exactly.
And your role.
Exactly. So the weight of the countries, yes, we respect the big countries around us. We always, and I know the same administration at the moment, I think they always look to have a good relation with their neighbors, especially with Saudi Arabia. That's no doubt about this. This is a principle in the relation or in the policy of Qatar. The problem is the way how to think. We should be more used to have different opinion in the region and to discuss it and to try to reach a solution. That's not the habit in the region. And what they say about the Islamists, I will tell you one thing. We did not bring the Islamists to Egypt or to Libya or to... If you go from Morocco now to where you want to go, to Iraq or to anyone, you know that the Islamics have a role, which 20 years ago they was not having the same role.
But I don't want to mean to interrupt, but clearly you supported the Muslim Brotherhood. Clearly the Saudi government is supporting General Sisi. General Sisi is running for president.
Yes.
And there is a very different approach to the future of Egypt.
Let me go to this point, although I would like to explain it in a broad way, but sure. I will go to this point. I know you want to go to the point straightforward. If we support the Islamic Brotherhood and the Saudis support Sisi, whose will judge who's right? First of all, we did not bring the Islamic or Brotherhood to power in Egypt. They've been elected by the Egyptian people. At that time, when we start announcing, Qatar announced their help and aids to Egypt. It was through when Mashir Tantawi was there.
Right.
And when Mr. Assam Sharaf, the Prime Minister, came to Doha, we announced the package for Egypt. Before any Islamic Brotherhood come to power, way before, and we start doing that before the Islamic Brotherhood come. And when they come, we continue because they've been elected by their own people. We have no problem by electing. Some our brothers, they don't like or they disagree, let me put it, with the Islamic Brotherhoods. Fine, it's their right to do that. Some of them think that Sisi is legitimate. Let me tell you, what about if Sisi come to power, which he going to come to power within a month or 2 months?
Elections in June, I think.
Yeah, and 6 months later, we have, like what they say, 2 million or 3 million in Tahrir Square, and they say, we don't want any more Sisi, we need X or Y. And we say, well, this is legitimate. Now we have to change the president again, and we have to change the constitution again. So we might have a case every 1 year. If people does not like their president, they go and change the constitution, and change the president, and change the parliament. And this is what happened in Egypt. We are.
Why do you think
I'm not supporting the Islamic Brotherhoods. I'm not fond of them or the others, to be frank here, publicly, not myself, at least if I will put it this way. But we have to respect what the people choose. We are not a full democratic country in Qatar. Let me put it this way. We are a monarchy. And our people and us, we, I think, accept to live together in this way. But if there is, after 20 years, a new idea will come to develop this relation between the monarchy and the people, we are doing this since 40 years. There is many development happen in our region, or in Qatar, let me put it, in the monarchy within the next, from no constitution, there is constitution, there is a parliament, there is a municipal election, there is many kind of election, trade election, which people have no experience to do that before 20 years or 25 years. But in Egypt, if the people choose somebody and we support it, and later they say, why you support this guy? Well, we did not choose him. He been chosen by his own people. Tomorrow it could happen to the Sisi. He might be good president.
Happened to Mubarak. You're saying it happened in Mubarak. It happened to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, and it might happen again. And
President Morsi.
And then we will say Morsi and Sisi could face within a year somebody saying, we don't want you. We will believe, shall we believe that he's legitimate being elected? Fine. Let me say, yes, he been elected legitimately. Let me say the constitution is the new constitution, the third order, within a 2 years constitution being changed. So there is a chaos in the vision, or there is a chaos in the region, how to deal with the new error. I call it after Al-Bouazizi, you know, the guy which he burned himself.
And the Arab Spring. In Tunisia started the Arab Spring.
Exactly. The error before the error. The Middle East after Bouazizi is changed completely. And it's going in some places to chaos. When you say in Libya, we've been partner with you and with the West to take Gaddafi because he was killing his people. We was not alone, and we was not supporting Islamic Brotherhood in Libya. We was supporting the people of Libya at that time, with your people side by side, with the Europeans side by side. And now, if there is a mistake happen, and they want to blame Qatar for another agenda, and I believe we should not have criticism among us more than to have a discussion about case, about situation with some evidence. Because all right now, everybody is talking, but there is no evidence for me to see.
But why are they upset?
I don't know, but let me put it this way. I believe to be upset or not to be upset, that's not the problem. The problem, are you willing to sit at this critical time in the region to try to solve problem and to try to solve any fear you have or I have. I believe we have a lot of changes in our region. We was thinking about you to defend our region. Now you are in talk with Iran, which I support personally a lot, and this will change a lot in the region. We need to think now as a GCC how to work together, how to defend ourselves together, politically, economically, defend ourselves, and that's the problem we have at the moment.
You mentioned the Saudis, and we'll assume that the Saudis and the Emirates seem to have the same position on most of this, and as well as Bahrain, but not necessarily on every issue. Take Iran. It is said that the political dynamic in the region is Saudis, who are Sunnis, and Iran, which is Shia, that it is a competition between the two of them, and that the Saudis believe you're too close and too supportive of the Iranians.
Let me tell you one thing. I said this in the beginning, I want to repeat it. If we want to choose, we'll choose Saudi Arabia. We are more close to Saudi Arabia, and for us, the stability of Saudi Arabia is very important and vital in Qatar, and we would like to see Saudi Arabia strong because that helps all the GCC. And I always call them that they are the main bone in our body. Let me put it. That's true.
Yes.
But also...
You say that because...
I will tell you. Not because, let me put it this way. But always we believe that we have to have a good relation with Iran. I think no use to have a bad relation with Iran. We have 30 or 40 years of war in our region. It's more than enough. If we look at the development in our region, it's back. It's a rich region, but we have a lot of people jobless. We have a lot of economic, we are almost rely on our oil and gas in the region. Is this a healthy, after 50, 60 years of oil? We think we should have planned. You have planned now to take the shale gas and the oil gas. We should have...
And become energy independent and therefore not be dependent on importation.
And we should have planned to avoid the problem when you and the others to be independent from us in energy.
That's a whole
What is our plan?
Yeah. What is your plan?
That's something we have to ask all of us. And we cannot do it in Qatar or in Saudi Arabia alone. All the GCC should have planned that within 10, 20 years, they should know that they could live without the oil and gas.
It is said that the reason for all the investments overseas and investments in significantly in European and American companies is because you want to have income outside of energy.
That's true.
That's your future plan.
That's true. But if we can do it together, if our economy more joint in the GCC, if we can do kind of unity more than the GCC, and this is King Abdullah, by the way, he mentioned that he would like to see the Gulf more closer, and we in Qatar at that time support this idea, and I believe this is a good, genuine idea, but it has to be done in a way that the people in the street could feel that there will be a difference when it happens.
Okay, let me ask you this. Does the new Emir represent anything different in foreign policy than his father or you? Because he announced early on in his inaugural speech that he wanted to turn inward. I assume that's economic development. I assume that's relationship with other countries.
Let me put it this way. I believe that he is concentrating inside, and he do a lot of development, and they are doing a lot of things which we could not able to do it, which we are happy for it, because in the end I am a Qatari.
Yes.
And if we are talking about the foreign policy, and if it will be the same or different, I believe the principle does not change. But if we did mistakes, he is the Emir now, and he is free to take the decision. And let me tell you one thing. He have 100% power. and he can do as Emir, and he can do what is the benefit of Qatar.
Notwithstanding, and with great respect again, you know, there are those who say the Emir, his father, is still in control.
That's not true. He, as I told you, he's 100% in power and 100% do what he wants. If he wants to consult his father or consult any other guy, he's also free, and that's wise to consult others.
Do you believe at all that Qatar overreached at any point in terms of its foreign policy and its ambition to be a principal player, in its ambition to have influence?
Let me tell you one thing. We have ambitions to have the name of Qatar in a level that everybody can see it. And I think this is our right. It's your right here to defend your country.
Absolutely.
It's my right to make my country look the most important and country. But we know our size. We know our capability. But the problem at the time, there is some Arab countries which they did not play their role enough. And when we play the role, the people think that we are taking over that role. No, we will be glad.
Whose role are you talking about?
I don't want to mention country, but one. Let me mention one, Egypt.
Yes, exactly.
They think that we take their role. That's not true. We know the size of Egypt. We know the capability of Egypt. But tell me, Egypt, what they did in terms of policy when Hosni Mubarak was there. I'm not talking about the new guys, because the new guys still new, still Egypt in terms of oil. I hope that after the election we can see better policy, better result, which I truly think Egypt, stable Egypt, is important for all the Middle East. And I believe at the time when we was playing some roles, we have no alternative. We have our opinion, and we could see the opinion of most of the Arabs about many policies being done for no reason. And in the end, we find ourselves that taking a role which we don't want to take it, but we thought about the principle. And the principle is to take that role.
It is said also that you harbor within the protection of Doha some people who are the most radical in terms of Islamist power and rhetoric.
You know, as I told you, there is a lot of talks in our Majlises in the region. And if we hate somebody, we throw, excuse me for this, all the garbage to him. No. If we have somebody, it's publicly known. We don't have a secret guys live in Qatar, which they are dangerous, or they are not allowed to live, or they are, let me put it this way, threat any other country.
But some of them are enemies of the United States in terms of how they express their opposition and even their threats against the United States.
No, threat, no, I don't believe that. But I believe that, yes, they have different opinions with the United States. They don't agree with all your policy here, which it is right. We should follow your policy here. You can accuse your president and you can accuse everybody here, and nobody can ask you why you did that. So I believe that the people is there trying to say what they need to say about what happened, especially in our region, which they think that the United States is more effective and they can do better. For example, look what happened in Syria.